Why is it that New Year's resolutions seem to fail every single year? Maybe you had great intentions on losing weight, spending more time with family, spending more time with friends, or maybe just developing some type of new habit that's going to bring more joy and fulfillment in your life. Well, what I've discovered is that there is one big mistake that a lot of people make that causes for them to fail with their New Year's resolution. And that's what I'm going to be talking about with you today. So I was watching this video with Myron Golden, and he was talking about how can someone upgrade their life. And one of the biggest things that stuck out to me was he said that you have to believe in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, there are some other steps that have to go on. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today, which is the reason why I believe that many people fail when it comes to their New Year's resolutions is because they are not able to. Let me grab my marker. They are not able to consistently stay separated. Now, you may be sitting here thinking, like, Matthew, what is it that you're talking about? People can't consistently stay separated. Well, what I've discovered is when you look at things, or at least when I looked at things, you have everyone that is, let's say, you have multiple people that are over here. And all of these people are doing very similar things. They have the same thoughts, they have the same habits, they have the same ideas. And let's say that you decide, let's say that this is you right here, and you decide, hey, look, I want to be better. I want to change my life. Well, what happens is now you are going to be separated from the group. And because you are separated from the group, now you look like this. So because you are now looking like this, you decided that you want new habits, you decided that you want new thoughts. Now, here you go looking like this with the group of blue, basically. And what will end up happening is because there are so many people that are the same and you are different, it causes for you not to stay consistent when you decide that you want to change your life. So, you may say, hey, look, I want to be healthier. So, what does being healthier look like? So, being healthier means you got to change the foods that you eat. So, change food. It means you got to work out. It means you got to get sleep. And when you decide you start doing these things, what happens? Well, if these people are going to bed at, 12 o'clock at night or 12 a.m., for you to get better sleep, maybe you have to start going to bed at 9 p.m. And what happens is they start saying, well, man, what is going on? Why is it that you're changing? You want to be healthier. Maybe maybe health is not your goal. Maybe it's your finances. Maybe you want to be better with your finances. You want to have more money. You want to start saving. You want to start investing. Well, you're going to look different than everybody else because you have to change your habits and change the way that you think and change your ideas, which causes for you to be very different than everybody else. So, generally, what ends up happening and why New Year's resolutions don't last and why they fail is because for 1 month, you might be good. 2 months, you start feeling like you're an outcast. 3 months, you feel isolated and it's very lonely. And then you start saying, like, man, I kind of miss hanging out with my friends. I kind of miss hanging out with my family. I miss doing certain things. And I'm not saying you have to cut people off. However, what I am saying is if you want your goals to, or if you want your life to be different, the things that you are going after, you're going to have to stay consistently separated because as much as people say, oh man, you've changed, that is a part of life. And the truth be told, you're either changing to get better or you're changing to get worse. And if you do not focus on changing to become better, guess what? You're automatically just going to become worse. And that's a physics principle. And anything that is left to itself is going to move closer and closer to disorder. Now, at first, when I went to school and I heard that, I'm like, okay, if you got an object, you leave it by itself, it's going to move towards disorder. But if you think about us as human beings, we are also objects. And let's say, for instance, you have your house, you go clean your house. If you were to leave and you were to come back, let's say you were gone for a month or two, you will come back and there'll be dust everywhere. Why is there dust everywhere? Because you haven't been there. And that's the same thing that can happen in your life. If you don't start focusing on your thoughts, if you don't start focusing on your habits, if you don't start having different ideas, you're going to be stuck in the same place with the same group of people. And once again, your New Year's resolutions are going to fail. So, what is the first step to being able to have this change and really to be consistent? Well, the first step to have the change and to be consistent is you first have to identify where you are now. That's the first step. You have to identify where you are now. I mean, just like if you take your phone out and you are going to a new place and you put in your GPS, hey, I'm going to the XYZ place, I need directions. What the GPS is going to do is it's going to say, okay, you are currently here, and to get to that destination is going to be 30 minutes. And this is the route to take, or this is the best route to take. Now, sometimes you may have different routes. One might be faster, one might be less turns. It all depends on which route you want to go. But the key thing is you have to identify where you are. And the reason why this is important is because if you do not identify where you are never going to be able to go anywhere. Because that's just like saying, hey, I'm over in Alaska, but I want to go to a restaurant that's over in Texas. Well, if you, like, say, for instance, with your GPS, if you don't change and update where you currently are, it's going to say, hey, you're 15 minutes away, when in reality, you're like a day or two away. So you want to make sure that you know exactly where you are. And when you have an idea on where you are, what is it that you have to do? You have to see where you are, mentally. You have to see where you are physically, if it's your health. And you have to start thinking like, okay, this is where I'm at. Now what you have to do is you have to get rid of thoughts, ideas, and habits. You have to get rid of thoughts, ideas, and habits that are not serving you. So what does this look like? Well, this looks like, well, it's okay for me to just go and eat McDonald's, or hey, it's okay for me to just go splurge this $50 or this $100, or hey, it's not that bad. All right, you can always get it back, or you can always do this. You have to get rid of those thoughts. And one of the things that I discovered is that a lot of times the thoughts that you have, the thoughts that I have, aren't actually the thoughts that we want to think. And you may be sitting there thinking like, Matthew, how is that possible? Well, the reason why that's possible is because when you came on this earth, you didn't believe anything. Whatever it is that you currently believe right now is a byproduct of the environment that you were raised in or the environment that you are currently in. People will say things like, I'm a Democrat, or I'm a Republican, or I like this team, or I like that team. And a lot of times, the reason why people have those ideas is not because it's their idea, it's because someone else taught them that, or someone else programmed them to think like that. Say, for instance, maybe you hung around your parents or your grandparents and they talked about Democrats, they talked about being a Republican, and they talked about the pros and cons, or they talked about all this other stuff. And that calls for you to say, well, I really like my granddad, so I'm gonna go with what my granddad says. Or I really like my mom, and I'm gonna go with what my mom says. And when you start doing that, now you are starting to develop ideas in your head, and you don't even understand why you have those ideas. So the first thing is you have to get rid of thoughts, ideas, and habits that do not serve you, because you're going to stay stuck. So after you identify where you are now, then you get rid of the thoughts, ideas, and habits that are not serving you. The last thing you have to do is you have to um, program. You have to program new thoughts, ideas, and habits. Out with the old, in with the new. Now, when I first was thinking about this, like, okay, what exactly does that mean? Well, back in the day, it's probably my generation is probably the last generation of people that actually saw this. And back in the day, they used to have these computers. And when you had these computers, Microsoft had um, these updates that would come out, and it would be on a floppy disk. And what you would have to do is you have to put a floppy disk inside of the computer. You would have to uninstall all of the programs that were on there. Then you would have to take the floppy disk out and then put a new floppy disk in to upgrade or update the programming so it could run faster, or maybe it had better graphics or whatever. This is the same thing you have to do with your mind, because your mind is a computer. It's one of the most intrinsic computers in the world. It's one of the largest in the world, the fastest in the world. And once you start getting rid of these old thoughts, these old ideas, these old habits, now you have to put new thoughts, new ideas, and new habits inside of your mind to fill that space. Now, the thing is, when it comes to this, what ends up happening is you have four different levels that you're going to have to go through. Now, what's the first level? The first level is called unconscious incompetence. Now, what does unconscious competence mean? That means that you have no idea about what you don't know. All right. Think about, for instance, tying your shoe. Somebody says, "Hey, you let's say you're 1, 2 years old." Somebody says, "Hey, tie your shoe." You go, they point, you're looking down, you're like, "Hey, I do not know how to tie my shoe." That is what unconscious, or I didn't even know about tying my shoe. That's unconscious incompetence. Then what you have is you have conscious incompetence. That means that now someone told you to tie your shoe again, and you're like, "Hey, someone told me to tie my shoe. They showed me how to do it, but I do not know how to tie my shoe still." But then we move on to conscious. I'm probably spelling that wrong, but conscious competence, which means, hey, I know how to tie my shoe, but it requires me to think about tying it. And the last one is unconscious competence, which means I can go and I can do this, and it requires no effort at all or any type of brain energy, because I've developed the mindset or the neural pathway in my brain to be able to do it. Now, the thing is, many people, and even myself included, we try to skip this step right here. And the way that we're going to be able to reprogram our mind is by doing things over and over and over and over and over again. Right now, before you watch this video, you did not know why it is that you were failing when it comes to your New Year's resolutions, or why you try to develop a new habit or whatever it is. But every single year you come up with something and you're like, why is it that I'm not able to succeed after a month or 2 months or 3 months? Well, now you know why. So now you have to think like, okay, is this is the reason why I'm not able to succeed because of the fact that I'm staying with the crowd that I currently have. So then once you start understanding that you're at conscious incompetence, now you have to purposely start focusing on, hey, look, I'm gonna have new thoughts. I'm gonna have new ideas. And when I have these new thoughts and these new ideas, that's going to allow for me to have a better reality. And once I start having a better reality, now because I've been doing this for such a long period of time, it's just like it's a habit. It just happens. I don't have to go and say, man, I need to change my mindset. I need to think positive. Or, hey, I need to get rid of this habit. Or, hey, I need to do this. Now you're acting in a way that is going to serve you. And you're going to be able to not only have New Year's resolutions that are going to be able to be completed, but you're going to have a better lifestyle overall because you are becoming a new person. As I stated before, people always say, hey, are you changing? Or hey, you changed? Or hey, what's going on? And the question is, yes, you are changing. And part of the reason why it's so hard, and part of the reason why people actually talk down upon you changing, is because of the fact that they are losing the person that they once knew, and they don't want to be by themselves. Many people do not want to be by themselves. And when you start developing yourself, you start elevating yourself. Now people are going to say that, hey, you're weird, and they start isolating you. And it's because they do not understand the process that you're going through, but also is because they are losing someone that they love and someone that they care about. So I hope that this video was able to help you on why, people fail with their New Year's resolutions. I hope that you are able to have success going forward this year after hearing this information about New Year's resolutions. And if you are looking for more content like this, or if you found this valuable, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out for now.